Commissioner Hogan has been typically forthright, and I think it's right that he spoke as such to this audience, because
will you hold it a little bit closer?
It also joins up very directly with what we heard earlier from Tara. And in markets, particularly in all the developed economies, where we treasure outlets for value add and for potential to increase value add, consumers increasingly reflect on provenance, authenticity, and in the era of COP21, how does this impact on climate and the targets for Europe? And therefore, I think for the food industry to survive, sustain and prosper and achieve, which is achievable, the goals in food-wise, then we have to get clearer, sharper and faster around issues around sustainability. And I think that's a question, to my mind, fundamentally about productivity, innovation, and the key to that is people. Because we're going to have to build up capacity and capability all along the supply chain to grapple with the change that this will bring in how things are done, from farm to fork. But I think that is also an opportunity. I think Alan put his finger on one of it, on how you translate this into actionable messages for people, that it makes no sense to use more than you need, and can you use less and get more. But it does require an intensity of focus and an ability to support people. And part of the actions we wrote down in Foodwise, particularly work we would like to see Teagasc getting more and more into, being able to support people in achieving quantifiable changes, adapting technologies that can drive productivity. That in turn, to my mind, makes a huge contribution to improving the sustainable impact. And I think we have to really push hard to exhaust those sciences and technologies. And ultimately, we may come a point in the next iteration of this plan where we may need to think about certain trade-offs across the sector versus the wider economy. And there's a danger too in this sector that we think about it all in terms of beef and dairy. You know, it is a pyramid. At the top, you have small value, high value products. We have a really dynamic prepared consumer foods industry, a dynamic and growing seafood sector, going down to large businesses at the bottom of that with global reach. And you need to think about it all holistically, how all that provides inputs from one along the chain. And the consumer at the end of the day wants to look back on that and say, are these people really making good progress? And the point that was made that we're going to be as strong as the weakest link, I think is going to be really crucial for the future.
As strong as the weakest link. What do you see as the biggest challenge we've got to tackle right now?
I think the challenge is one of equipping people with the skills at a step-up level to be able to understand the levers they can pull in their businesses. And I don't mean just farms. I mean processing businesses. I mean across the supply chain, to how they can reduce the impact. There are technologies there, but it's about being able to support people to do that effectively and see it as a valuable thing for their business to become involved in, that it makes economic sense. That goes back to the point that Alan, I think, made very clearly.